They made Heavy D stand in front of that fake-ass truck for nothing. Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to talk about the latest news surrounding Nikola, and we're going to discuss whether or not Nikola has a future. And please stick around because I'm going to show you some stuff that the other channels aren't showing you. At least the other channels I've seen. And then after that, we're going to go over my weekly portfolio update. So you can see the news we're about to talk about. But before we get into that, I just want to point out a few things. Although I do own Tesla shares, this is not a pro Tesla channel. I mean, you can check my previous videos. This is not a pro Tesla channel. This is not an anti-Nikola channel. This is a channel about my financial journey through the stock market. You will see up here where I made a few videos about Nikola because I was interested in them. The first video was more of a neutral one where I took a look at him. And at the end of that, I pretty much said that I was interested in Nikola. I did like the concept. However, I just wanted to see some more proof from Nikola that it could deliver on, all these things that it was promising. And then by the second video, that was when the whole Hindenburg thing happened. We're not going to go into that, but Google it if you don't know what that is. Pretty much, Nikola has shown me the opposite of that. And as a matter of fact, this entire time, Nikola has shown me, and I think most investors, a lot of investors, even a lot of bullish investors, the opposite of, stuff that instills confidence. That brings us to the news of today. GM gives up equity stake in smaller rework deal. So if you haven't been keeping up on the more recent news, Nikola and GM were planning on signing a deal in which Nikola would GM would produce the Badger for Nikola, and then Nikola would just sell it. Now that alone made me really, really distrust Nikola a little bit because they were proposing all this stuff about Nikola's technology and this badass technology, the electric stuff and then the hydrogen stuff, all this stuff that Nikola has, and then he goes and signs a deal with GM in which GM pretty much does the whole work. They produce the whole Badger. What the hell happened to all this technology that Nikola was boasting about? But anyways, all that's in the Hindenburg report where they're facing alleged fraud. Alleged. That all came to a head on the 30th where GM is breaking things off. Now, it says rework deal, but you're going to find out in a second that's not the case. So, back in September, the deal was announced, and that was pretty much it was a $2 billion deal, and GM was going to get an 11% stake in Nikola, so Nikola would get some capital, and in return for GM kind of getting more of a controlling interest in the company, and then GM would produce the Badger pickup. Well, all that came to a head when the Hindenburg research thing lobbed some fraud allegations against Nikola. And then as a response to those allegations, Trevor Milton took the hard fight and a battle against it. No, he didn't. He fucking resigned. He left, which does not paint a pretty picture at all. Well, GM is being signed on as a partner, but there is no longer any ownership or equity stake in Nikola. So that means all those billions of R&D off the table, negative blow to Nikola's story. The new agreement is a non-binding memorandum of understanding, which is not a deal. There is no deal anymore. There is no hardline deal. This is a non-binding memorandum of understanding going on. So pretty much, as far as this understanding, is that GM will potentially supply Nikola with battery systems for its planned electric semi-trucks. Well, and that's pretty much it for now. That's the whole memorandum of understanding. And as a result, Nikola has to refund all the previously pre-orders for the Badger. So the Badger is dead. Like I said, they made Heavy D make all those Facebook ads and stand in front of that fake-ass truck for no reason. The next bit of bad news is also in this article because the deal falling through couldn't have come at a worse time because this is the week that a whole bunch of insiders will be able to sell Nikola stock. And those insiders include Trevor Milton himself. Now, we don't know yet if he's going to sell the stock or not, but a whole bunch of people will now have the ability to sell it. We're talking 166 million shares on the table. And as a result, we are talking a drop of 36.85% within the past 5 days. Now, I promise to show you some stuff that you're not seeing on any of the channels. And I'm going to show you right now. And I'm going to show you why the fact that Nikola is dropping the Badger is such a huge deal right now. And this right here is Nikola's latest 10Q. We're going to look at some information straight from Nikola's words. Now, there is a piece of information that I want you to memorize before we go forward. The earnings call, I think, took place on November the 9th. And the date of this 10Q is September the 30th, 2020. I want you to remember that date, the end of September. The first thing I want to show you is its assets. Now, it does have a really good thing that I'm going to point out because, you know, credit given where credit is due. It has about 907.5 million. This is in thousands, so 907.5 million in cash and cash equivalents. That's a lot from last year, which seems impressive, and it is, but, I mean, not when paired with the bad news. Income statement, no sales whatsoever, absolutely bleeding money. Cash flows, negative from operating activities, which means its business is losing money. All of its cash gain right now is coming through financing activities, which I don't think is a good thing. So the first thing I want to point out is this right here. This is the first part, the first important part. So there are recent developments. They are working with Overflow in Germany to assemble the first 5 Nikola Tre BEV, the battery electric vehicle prototypes. They are expected to complete the prototypes by the end of 2020. The second batch is expected to begin in the first quarter of 2021. That's the first part. This right here is the second part. And I encourage you, if you are interested in Nikola, both from a good or a bad reason, I highly recommend you read through this 10Q. There is a lot of information in this. We're just going to go over a little bit. But they expect the majority of their revenue, because right now they're not making any money. They're not making any money whatsoever. Their revenue was expected to come from BEV trucks starting in 2020. I don't know if that includes the Badger, which is dead, because at the time of this 10Q, the Badger was apparently still going to happen. And then their next major source of revenue is supposed to come from the FCEV trucks beginning in 2023. 2023. Remember that as well. So this is where it all starts to come together. Everything I showed you right here. Now these are the risk factors, and these are all very juicy, but we're going to look at some very important ones, just a few of them. They're going to continue incurring losses until the delivery of their trucks, which is not expected to begin till late 2021 for their Nikola Tre BEV trucks. So assuming they're on target, their Nikola Tre BEV truck, which is the first thing that's going to actually make them money, is not expected to begin until late 2021. And this right here is the end game. This is the climax. They have capital that's going to last them for the next 12 to 18 months. This is as of the end of September. They have enough capital to last 12 to 18 months. And if they expect to continue operating beyond that, they're going to have to get additional capital somehow, because they have to scale the manufacturing. They have to build the trucks. They have to sell the trucks. And they also have to invest in hydrogen refueling stations, because I don't know if they're planning on selling it in Europe or the United States, but Europe has a significant hydrogen infrastructure. I checked. But the U.S. does not. Go look. The hydrogen infrastructure across the U.S. is pretty bare. The point is that they got 12 to 18 months to get capital through some manner. Now, this is bad. Like, this is really bad for Nikola. Like, even if you like Nikola, even if you're bullish, like, this is a very precarious situation. They may try to brush off the loss of the Badger, but that was going to be their revenue. That was going to be how they made money they got to get themselves by. So let's give them a huge benefit of the doubt. Let's say that they have 18 months from December the 30th of this year of capital left. Let's assume that they had the maximum amount that they set. That gives them until, I think, March of 2022, I think. Yeah, March of 2022 before they have to have money to continue funding their operations. Their first source of revenue is not going to even roll off the truck until the end of 2021. Like, that is a very close situation. Like, and this assumes that the SEC investigation into Nikola goes perfectly, and that assumes Nikola just gets off scot-free. of everything. That assumes that their first, the Nikola tray does not get delayed, that it's actually on time. That assumes all that. And even then, they have to find people willing to buy it. Like, they have to find someone to buy it. We don't know if that's going to happen. And given Nikola's track record of, well, or lack thereof, I mean, I just don't see a whole lot of consumer confidence in Nikola's ability to deliver. Hi, this is Matt from Editing. I also want to point out that I also don't see a whole lot of investor confidence in Nikola. And that's important too, because if Nikola ends up not being able to raise the capital through revenue, they're going to have to get the capital through something else, like business alliances or something like that, or catering to investors. And given for example, GM backing out of the deal with Nikola, that does not make Nikola look good in the eyes of potential investors. That means GM saw some shit in Nikola that GM didn't like. And not to mention the whole SEC investigation thing that Nikola is going through. So that's going to make it really difficult for Nikola to find a good deal with potential investors. Now, they could take out debt. That is possible, but the whole thing with debt is you got to pay it back. And they may end up, like, at very worst, they don't have a whole lot of capital to pay it back with unless they get revenue. Again, it's a vicious cycle. And I don't usually give flat-out recommendations on my channel because it's not that kind of channel, but I gotta say, I don't recommend anyone even touch Nikola. Stay the hell away from that. I wouldn't even recommend anyone short it because that stock price is crazy. I mean, you can put in a put and then the stock price just goes up 10% because someone says a nice word. I mean, the price has done that before. So I wouldn't do anything at all with Nikola. I would stay the hell away. But that being said, this is not a Nikola hate channel. Like, I do see a way forward for Nikola, but everything has got to go right. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about Nikola getting better and how they can actually do that. Well, for one, they actually have to produce a vehicle. That's the very first step, is they have to produce a vehicle, show it to the world, and let a third party look at it. Because, I mean, the people who run Nikola can't be stupid. They got to know that both their consumer confidence and the confidence of their investors or any future investors is shaken. They've got to show some shit. And then the next thing is that, I mean, they can't have any delays. If that truck gets delayed, if that Nikola tray truck gets delayed, that's going to be rough for Nikola. And now they have a lot of money in cash and cash equivalents, but that's not going to last them forever. Now, I mean, I guess the other way is they could sell their equity, but I mean, their market cap I think is $7 billion, around $7 billion right now. So unless they want to sell their entire business, I mean, they've got a really, really rough road ahead of them. Now, if you're a Nikola for the short term, just following the price action, respect. There's probably a lot of money to be gained by short-term rises and falls of the stock price if you know what you're doing. But if you are a long-term investor and you believe in the traditional sense of investing in Nikola as owning a company, I'm gonna ask you this question before I move on to my portfolio. If you had the opportunity right now to buy Nikola with his, I think, $7 billion market cap, if you had the opportunity to buy Nikola right now, given its current state, would you buy Nikola? All right, so this is my portfolio for the week. It is a mix of growth stocks, dividend stocks, value stocks. I don't really adhere to one type of investing right now. Right now, my goal is strictly to make money. I don't think my portfolio is big enough for me to just stick to one type. I did have a goal to make $25,000 by the end of the year, and I have passed that handsomely. We are about to hit 32,000, I think. Well, we're about to hit 32,000. Just a day or two ago, I dropped my monthly $1,200 into the market, and at the end of the month, I'm going to drop an additional $1,200. So I'm going to have a lot of capital to spend. Cloudera, I'm recording this on Wednesday. You'll be seeing this on Friday. Cloudera has earnings at the end of the business day tomorrow. I'm really hoping now. Cloudera has had some strong earnings, and it had strong earnings last time, but the stock price did not agree with those earnings. So I'm really hoping that this, the earnings tomorrow gives me some kind of a break. I just want to see this stock go up just a little bit. We are sitting handsomely right now. None of our positions are down right now, which is a first. And Cisco, which was one of my worst positions at the time, we're now seeing some gains. As far as my plans for the future, I mean, there aren't any more positions I want. I do lean very heavily into tech, which is, as you can see, but that's because, I mean, my background's in tech. It's what I believe in. It's probably not the best way to diversify, but that's the life I've chosen. I do plan, so I don't plan on adding any more positions. And so at a certain point, I might start, at one point I did drop $200 a week into a dividend stock, and I might start that up again, but we'll see how it goes. And in addition to that, I think every half month, so every 15 days or so, I'm going to drop a flat $400 in ARK because I really want to get this ETF up to like $3,000, $4,000 or so. And then I just want to let it sit and do its thing. Anyways, take care, have a great day, and eat your vegetables.